Often in programming, you need some way to explicitly represent the absence of a value. So I'm not talking about zero or an empty string or false. What I'm talking about is literally how do you represent nothing? The value is nothing. The way that we do that in Go is we use something called a nil. And so that's what we're going to have a look at in this one. Okay, now here are three types which when initialized, if you don't initialize them with values, then their value will be nil. Nil isn't a value, it's an absence of a value. So here we have an empty slice. So this should be a slice of integers, but as you can see, we've not provided any values. So when we initialize it here, its value will be nil. There will be no value. Same for a map. So this works the same for a map and also for pointers. So you're probably looking at this and thinking that's a string. Well, technically yes, but it's actually a pointer to a string. Important distinction which we'll come on to when we cover something called zero values. So all three of these should have no value. And so we can check for nil like so. So here we're saying is numbers equal to nil, is colors equal to nil, is name equal to nil, and they should all be true. So let's run this, go run main.go, and they all evaluate to true. Okay, now things are slightly more complex for pointers, so that's something we're going to have a look at in the future. But if we initialize these and give them values, you'll see that they are no longer nil. So what we've done here is we've changed numbers to initialize using the short declaration syntax, and we've created a slice with the numbers 1, 2, and 3, and for colors we've initialized a map and also assigned values. So now these first ones should evaluate to false because they have a value. But you'll notice I have left the pointer as is because, like I say, that's a little bit more complex, and so we're going to talk about that after we've done the zero values lesson. So let's go and run this again, and we should see false, false, true. And that's what we see. All right, time for a challenge. So this is fairly simple, but you'll find it quite interesting because of something which I expect to crop up here. So here, challenge, try declaring the following without initializing them. A map, string int, so string keys and integer values, a string slice, so a slice of strings, and an integer. So like I say, we are not initializing them, i.e. we're creating them the way that we've just seen. And then after that, just write if statements to check if each one is nil and print a message if it is. Okay, so I think you can do this. Pause me now and give that a go. All right, so this is what I've come up with. Scores will be a map with string keys and integer values. Names will be a slice of strings, and value will just be an integer. So what we need to do now is write if statements to check if each one is nil and print a message if it is. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so these are those checks. If scores equals nil, print this. If names is nil, print this. If value is nil, print this. You'll notice that value is underlined in red, or nil is underlined in red for value. Let's go and see what happens here. Okay, so it tells me invalid operation, value equals nil, mismatched types, int and untyped nil. So what's going on? If I hover over this here, it's saying cannot convert nil to type int, and nil is a pre-declared identifier representing the zero value for a pointer, channel, func, interface, map, or slice types. Type must be a pointer, channel, func, interface, map, or slice. So you can't use nil to represent everything. You can only use nil to represent specific types. For integers, they have a different, what is known as a zero value. And so zero values is what we are going to cover in the next one. Now, of course, if you had a go at the challenge and yours looks exactly like mine, then you've done what I asked you to do. I just threw in that little curveball at the end there because we can't assign nil values to everything. And so that's what we're going to start to have a look at in the next one when we have a look at 0 values. So make sure you give the video a like and that you subscribe for more Go Bytes, and let's move on.